This is how it all started. A 1995 baseball game between the Yankees and the Mariners, streamed online by real networks. From there, streaming spiraled into what we know it as today, like Netflix.
Netflix wasn't always a streaming app that could be used on any smart device. It originally was created in 1997 to rent DVDs through the mail. It wasn't until 2007 that Netflix started streaming. In 2013, Netflix aired its first original series, House of Cards, that was a risk to take but paid off tremendously for the streaming giant. Netflix is definitely a household name these days, with a subscriber number of 86.7 million globally. 58% of those subscribers are from within the United States. Users of the streaming application range from young toddlers enjoying educational animated series to the senior history buff who enjoys an intriguing war documentary.
Video streaming is basically compressed files that are sent over the web to be viewed by a user in real time. Streaming media does not require an actual download. Streaming media basically is sent in small packets over the internet to be viewed by the users in real time. I'll basically upload a file to the internet, which is then able to be viewed by the user without actually having to download the file to their hard disk, and it is played in small bits through the web through buffering times, and basically loads small portions of the video at a time to be watched. Examples of things that use this type of technology would be the most common one, Netflix. There's more recent ones such as YouTube Red, there's Hulu, there's Amazon Prime. Lots of companies are switching to this more streaming medium instead of video rentals. My experience with streaming is I have Netflix, I have Amazon Prime, and that is basically my form of watching television at home. A lot of my friends and family members, they are all basically cutting the cord and getting rid of cable, and now that smart TVs are a possibility, they have things like YouTube and Netflix preloaded onto them, so it makes it significantly easier to access these directly on your TV.
So there's many issues when dealing with online streaming and the internet in general. One major thing that keeps coming up in recent months and years is net neutrality, or the idea that the internet should be a free exchange of ideas and no one entity should have control over how it's used, consumed, or produced. You have two factions of net neutrality. You have the ISPs, or the internet service providers, trying to defend their decision on producing what's called a high-speed lane for the internet versus regular connections. Basically, it's a pay-to-play service where the big corporations and the big companies, streaming sites, for example, Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, have to pay a little extra money in order to get that high-speed internet connection to their customers. Another thing is, on the other side of this, is you have the government stepping in, and what they actually did was basically said, we are going to treat the internet like a utility. So they're using old legislation in order to try to maintain the freedom and maneuverability of the internet, but it's all outdated practices, and in all reality, all it's really doing is just stifling the growth of the internet. So when we're talking about the future of online streaming and what it really means for the consumer, there is a phrase that gets tossed around a lot, and you may have heard it online, or you may have just heard it on TV or in between your friends and family. It's called cutting the cord. Basically, a lot of people nowadays are finding out that it's far cheaper to just get rid of basic traditional media services and delivery. What I mean by that is cable providers. A lot of networks, not just cable providers, but networks, are seeing the realization that their consumers, their customers, want that streaming experience. They recognize that the shift towards a streaming service is really what's going to be the next step for consumer media entertainment, and they're trying to hop on board as soon as they can. The future that we're looking at in the upcoming years is we are no longer going to be channel surfing. We're going to be switching in and out of apps to find the programs that we want to watch. It's going to be more reliable and more stable. You don't necessarily need a smart television to watch online streaming. Chromecast and Amazon Fire Stick allow you to connect any smart device to your television and use it as an online streaming. And people are embracing this. And we are going to see that this is where the future of content consumption is going. And in this household, we've cut the cord. We are solely based on internet streaming to provide us for our entertainment.